Hey everyone, Michael O'Brien here, and today we're going to talk about how to tell a joke. All right, so you may be wondering, all right, I know how to tell jokes, right? Let me tell you something. A lot of people think they know how to tell jokes. Have you ever told a joke and the other person's like, I don't get it, right? Well, there's a reason behind that, and it has a lot to do with how you structure the joke as well as how you deliver it. So in this video, we're gonna break down what makes a joke funny, and we're gonna make sure that you guys have an easy time of coming up with some jokes, telling them to your audience, and having them actually land. And trust me, I have plenty of practice with this. As a skipper on the world-famous Jungle Cruise at Disneyland, they give you a script with a bunch of jokes in it. Most of them are not really that funny. Most of them are dad jokes, and they expect you to be able to deliver them in such a way to have your audience in your boat rolling on the floor laughing and hopefully not going overboard. So again, in today's video, we're going to talk about this because if I can take a stupid dad joke and make people rolling on the floor laughing at Disneyland, I think you guys will be able to put together some solid jokes that you can tell to your friends. So before we dive into all of that stuff, just some reminders. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. Make sure you ring the bell. That way you guys will be notified anytime I upload a new video and you won't miss out on any of the shenanigans coming out in the future. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, you can click the join button and you can join the mob. Mob Squad memberships are $1, $5, or $99 a month, depending on the tier that you want. And for more information on what each tier has to offer, you can simply click the membership tab at the top. Or if you guys want to wait till the end of this video, I'll discuss a little bit about that at the end of this video as well. But what makes a joke funny, right? The first thing we need to do is break a joke down. Now, a joke typically has two parts to it. It has the setup and it has the punchline, right? So the setup is the part where you're telling the story, you're going along, and then the punchline is the bit at the end that makes everything you just said funny. So here's an example using a joke that I loved to tell while working at the world-famous Jungle Cruise. The guests are getting into the boats, and a lot of times they'll just sit right down in the back, so I want to encourage them to come up to the front of the boat. So I would say something along the lines of this. Come all the way forward, my friends, all the way up towards me. The closer to me you sit, the better the view of me, right? So the joke there is the people thought the closer to the front, the better the view of everything that they're going to see in the jungle. But then, no, I don't care about the jungle. I want me to look good. That is the punchline, right? So we have the setup. In this case, the setup is come all the way forward, all the way up towards the front. The closer to me you are, the better the view is going to be, right? That's the setup. And then the punchline is simply two words, of me. Again, of me is the thing that makes the joke funny because everyone in the audience thought I was talking about one thing and then I was talking about another thing. And then what I could do is I could even add a kicker joke to that, where I could say, nah, I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. I look just as good from the back, right? So that no, I'm just kidding is the setup. I look just as good from the back is the punchline. Now in this case, the setup of no, I'm just kidding. They think like, oh, he wasn't talking about him. He really was talking about the jungle. And then I go, I look just as good from the back. And then it's a double reverse because now they're like, he's right back to him being the thing that we need to be looking at again, right? So this whole thing is setup, punchline, setup, punchline, setup, punchline. That's how you tell jokes, right? Now, there's another thing called delivery, right? And the delivery is the way you speak when you tell the joke. So I'm going to do the same exact joke again, but I'm not going to deliver it correctly so you guys can see exactly what's wrong with it, okay? So, all right, everyone, go ahead and move all the way up towards the front of the boat, all the way up towards me, because the closer to me you sit, the better the view of me. right? Like it kind of works, but notice it wasn't as good as, go ahead and come all the way up towards the boat, because the closer to me you sit, the better the view of me. You see how the second one was more funny, just because you separated the setup from the punchline, and you made the punchline very clear, right? So it's very, very important the way that you deliver the jokes as well. You'll often hear magicians refer to something as a hack line. Now, a hack line is basically a joke or a line of dialogue that every magician does, right? Go ahead and hold out the clean hand. No, I'm sorry, the other one. Oh, maybe that was the clean hand, right? These are jokes that so many magicians have done, it's become oversaturated. And the reason they call it a hack line is because they think you're not clever enough to come up with your own jokes, so you have to do the same jokes that every other magician is doing, right? Now, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with doing these hack lines, as long as these hack lines that you're doing fit your personality, right? So for me, another line that I like to use when I'm performing ninja rings, specifically I perform Ninja Plus by Matthew Garrett, I'll hand out the ring with the wedding ring linked onto it, so like solid steel ring with a wedding ring on it. I'll hand it out, I'll have them examine it. They can't find any openings or gaps or anything like that. And I'll say, you know, there is a soft spot though. And they're looking for it. And I go, right here. And I point to my heart. And everyone goes, oh, right? Because they get the joke that they thought I meant there's a soft spot where the ring comes off, but what I meant was there's a soft spot in my heart because I'm performing magic with my wedding ring, right? Another gag that a lot of linking ring performers will do is they'll hand out a solid ring and they'll say, do you see any holes in the ring, right? Or even like a wedding ring, right? Are there any holes in the ring? And the spectator will say no, and you go, oh, there's one right there. And you put your finger right through the middle of the ring because there is a hole in the ring, but what they thought you meant was any holes in the metal around the ring, like an opening, like a gap, right? So these are hack lines, but I think that they're okay to do certain hack lines in certain situations. I never encourage doing a hack line that makes a spectator feel bad about themselves. That's why the clean hand, no, the other one, oh, maybe that was the clean one joke. I've never liked that because you're basically saying, oh, your hands are dirty, and that's the joke, right? Which leads me to the final point. Why is the joke funny? And this is something that a lot of people don't understand, right? So here's another example. Again, I'll go back to the world famous Jungle Cruise as an example for this, because I recently rode a skipper's boat and they delivered a joke. And the joke didn't land. And I thought about why it didn't land. And I was like, the skipper doesn't get the joke. He doesn't understand why it's funny. He's delivering the joke wrong because he doesn't understand what makes the joke funny. So here's what the joke is, right? You're talking about this waterfall. It's a beautiful little waterfall, right? It's called Schweitzer Falls, and it's one of the 8th wonders of the world and all this stuff. You're hyping it up, right? And you go, but don't worry, we'll go over that one later, right? So the joke is, don't worry, we'll go over that one later, like is, I'll come back to it, I'll discuss it again. But also, the joke is to go over the waterfall, right? Like, don't worry, we'll be going over that one later. Like, the boat's gonna go over the waterfall, right? That's what makes the joke funny. This is the way that the skipper delivered it. That's Schweitzer Falls. It's named after the famous explorer. And don't worry though, I'll talk about that one later. What was the joke? There was none, because he said, I'll talk about it later, right? So there's no joke there. He just is stating a fact. Yeah, that's Schweitzer Falls, but we'll talk about it again at some point. But when I say, don't worry, we'll be going over that one later, what I'm saying is a joke because it could be taken one of two ways. Either, don't worry, I'll come back to it, or we can talk about it some more. But also, we'll be going over that one later. Like, we're going over the waterfall, right? That's the thing that makes the joke funny. So what you need to do is when you're coming up with these jokes is you need to ask yourself, what makes the joke funny, right? And I'm going to use a very recent example of this and why this whole video was birthed anyway. And one of my students was putting together his act. And he said, hey, Michael, I'm working on my patter. Can I show you what my patter is? And the effect required 2 decks of cards. And he said, okay, so I'm going to go through the thing now. And I got the 2 decks of cards here. This is what the script's going to be, right? So I have something that you might not have seen before, a deck of cards. Haha, it's funny, right? And then he said, but what's better than 1 deck of cards? 2 decks of cards. And he was expecting like a big haha. And I was like, but what makes that funny though? He sort of was on to something with the first part, something that you've probably not seen before, a deck of cards, right? The thing that makes that funny is everyone knows magicians do card tricks, right? So if the magician is saying something along the lines of, yeah, I'm going to take something out that you've probably never seen a magician use before, a deck of cards, right? It's like saying, I'm a magician, I'm going to pull something out of my hat you've probably never seen a magician pull out of their hat before. A rabbit, right? Like the joke being that every magician uses these things. But then the second part was the thing that I was a little confused about, because he said, but what's better than that is 2 decks of cards. And I'm thinking, but what makes that funny? You know? And he's like, yeah, because, you know, it was funny when I took out the first deck. The second deck is twice as funny. And I'm like, yeah, but what makes it funny though? And that's when we went back to the drawing board. I gave him some advice, and this is what he came up with. And this makes the joke so much better now, right? So now I'm going to tell it again, but I'm going to tell the new version of the joke, right? So I want to show you guys something super interesting with a prop that you've probably never seen a magician ever use before. You guys ready? Of course, I'm talking about a deck of playing cards. Everyone laughs. You want to know what's twice as impressive as a deck of playing cards, though? A second deck of playing cards. Notice it was the exact same thing that happened, but 2 different things changed. Number 1, the scripting changed, the setup for the punchline changed, and number 2, the delivery changed, right? So the setup in this case was, I'm hyping up this mysterious thing that you've never seen before, that no other magician has ever used before. And it's a prop that we've seen every single magician ever use, ever, because every magician uses a deck of cards, right? And so now that ends there. And then you say, no, but just kidding though, like it's that is the deck of cards. You know what's twice as impressive as a deck of cards? And so now in their heads, they're thinking, okay, cool. So the deck of cards wasn't the thing. Maybe there's something else that's going to be coming out that's really cool. A second deck of cards. And so now the spectator's like, oh my God, like again with the deck of cards, right? So this is exactly the same sort of thing as the come all the way up towards the front of the boat. The closer to me you are, the better the view of me. Nah, I'm just kidding. Seriously though, I look just as good from the back. It's literally that exact same setup and delivery, only the props have changed and the situation has changed. Take out something magic prop that you guys have probably never ever seen a magician use before. Of course, I'm talking about a deck of cards. No, seriously though, you guys want to see something twice as impressive as this? A second deck of cards. You see? So the setup and the punchline have to make sense with each other, and the way that it's delivered has to work too. Because if I just said something like this, I want to show you guys something super amazing you've never seen before, a deck of cards. The timing is a little off there, right? And then I go, but you know what's more amazing than that? A second deck of cards. People will be like, wait, what? What's going on? You just took out 2 decks of cards. There's nothing incredible about that. So the setup and the punchline need to work together to deliver the why behind something's funny. And then the delivery is the how something is told and then therefore is made funny, right? But the crux of all of this is you need to understand the jokes that you're telling and what makes them funny. If you guys can do that, you guys can come up with some really funny, material for your act, and you guys can stop using so many of the hack lines and start using so many of your original jokes. Now, I'm no stranger to hack lines, and in fact, I use Jungle Cruise jokes in my act. Another Jungle Cruise joke is anyone's first time on the Jungle Cruise? Anyone's last time? Right? And I use that in my act. I'll be like, is this anyone's first magic show? Yeah, very good. Anyone's last magic show? Right? I guess we'll see how good we do today, I guess, right? So taking jokes and injecting them into your act, as long as they fit your character and your personality. Use hack lines if you want, just please make sure that you deliver them properly, and always avoid doing jokes that make the spectator the butt of the joke. If anything, the magician should be the butt of the joke, right? A little bit of self-deprecating humor, self-deprecating, however you say that word, humor, as long as you're not just like taking a massive dump on yourself, right? A little bit of jokes that make fun of yourself as a magician are totally fine. But again, pushing it too much can make it awkward. You are gonna go out and you're gonna practice these things, and you're gonna learn certain things work, certain things don't. And you'll find out very quickly if the way that you're delivering something or the joke itself is bad, because just no one will get it or no one will be laughing. But just making that little tweak, and you could have yourself some really funny material. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for letting me rant at you guys for almost 20 minutes now about how to tell a joke. If you guys want to see more of my beautiful face, again, please subscribe, click the like button so that my video gets pumped out to more people. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you just want to say hello, please, I encourage you to drop a comment in the comment section below. And again, if you guys want to join, it's $1 a month to support the channel. You get early access to all these videos so that you don't have to wait. For $5 a month, you'll get full access to the tutorials playlist, which at the time of making this video is over 65 videos long. And if you want to become a mob boss for $99 a month, so far there are 2 mob bosses. Who is going to be the third? I'm curious to know. I'd love to see a third mob boss there. You guys will get one-on-one access to me, where we can do Zoom sessions, or you can jump on a phone and we can discuss any questions that you have. If you want to set up your business and start doing magic professionally, or if you're just a hobbyist and you want to just improve on your skills or come up with some fun new tricks to add to your act, we can discuss all of that stuff. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone.